What's up, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be discussing real quick about the many misconceptions of transgender people and other people in the community of the LBGTQ. So, first off and foremost, number one problem is a lot of people in society and just in the household of the families, they tend to think that the majority of the situation is A, it's either a phase, or B, they're just seeking attention. And I just want to bring up to people that, no matter what they're basically claiming, none of it is true. You should not believe anything these people are saying. Let me remind you, just don't give up on your beliefs, because a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is probably something you've been through or have experienced to some extent. And not just trans people, like gays, lesbians, the demisexuals and all the other people in this community, because there is a lot of people in this community, and I don't want them to think that I left them out on purpose, because I'm not like that, and I'm like real serious about this concept. But anyways, I am definitely sick and tired of the whole getting my butt chewed out for every time I make a status update on Facebook as well. Because, not only do they think that people in this community are like attention seekers or woe is me people, they also kind of assume that we tend to fake anxiety and depression and things like that. And, we're making up suicide attempts because we secretly are masochists and things like that, when that's not the case. Like, half the problem is, not all trans people or people in this community start out having anxiety or depression until it gets to the point where it develops years later because of all this criticism and ridiculing we get. Because 10 times out of 10, the majority of the things that are on my list that I'm going to be covering, has something to do with religion being the main reason why people are being ridiculed for this. And I know in the Bible it says that ridiculing is part of like the path of following God, that if you're following God, you're going to get ridiculed in your life at some point, because there is no way of getting around that. But if you can like look the other way and not let it bother you, then you're okay or something, which is what this video is supposed to be here for, to motivate people in this community not to give up. But honestly, recently, I have admitted a couple of days ago that I was not only trans male, but, because I had to remind people this, because they still misgender me to this day, but, I also said that I was gay, because I have a boyfriend who's pansexual, and they live in Michigan, and I'm from Tennessee, so it's kind of like it's a semi-long distance kind of travel situation. But aside from that, when I said that I was gay on top of that, my stepfather in particular instantly ridiculed me in the most negative way possible, to the point where I got so stressed out and distraught with, sadness and anger and just mixed emotions, because my anxiety kind of like increased my heart rate and made me all jittery and stuff, that I decided to just walk out on him after technically saying some cuss words that I wish I hadn't said, and some other things I regret saying, walking out and going to my friend's old house, because, she's married now. But, I just couldn't believe the things he said. Like, he was criticizing what kind of sexual things I would be doing, because I said I was gay, and just being sumptuous. And this is what led me to have the fire to make this video, because I don't want other people who are in this community to get backlash like that, because I'm sick and tired of these misconceptions. I'm sick and tired of people claiming that we as a community seek attention, like all we are these attention grabbers, and that we're just making up fake stories to get woe is me points, because we're like, oh, poor us. But that's not what we're doing. We don't get that much attention, and I just don't understand why people misconcept this all the time. Another thing is this, I'm not sure if y'all have experienced this, but I'm kind of tired of people just thinking that it's a phase, or that we're faking it, like we're imitating angsty teenagers that have like, emo kind of like stuff going on, because that's not the case either. And even if a child is emo, you still shouldn't like criticize them for it, because I'm not judging, I'm not hating, I love everybody no matter who they are. So if that's what you prefer to do, that's your business. But I just don't understand why these misconceptions occur. Another thing is you know, whenever I bring up to my parents that depression can lead to suicide, and usually, people in this community can get like that, they make it seem like I'm mental or that I have to get locked up or something crazy. And I'm just like, that's not really fair to people in this community, because just because they mention depression or suicidal thoughts doesn't mean you always have to actually act like it's them that's crazy. Maybe you should consider that maybe something you said or did to them led them to be like that, because there's been multiple times throughout my life recently, now that I'm 26, that I feel have gotten worse ever since then. Because let's be honest, once I reached my 20s, that's when I actually told people that I was trans male finally, because which leads to another misconception, by the way. I'm really tired of, like, keeping this a secret for so many years, because, when I first found out that I wasn't possibly the gender I needed to be, I started questioning this actually when I was 12 years old. But I didn't start doing research on it until I was in my preteen to late teen years. And finally, when I reached my early 20s, you know, that's when I'm like, all right, yes, it's definitely, this is definitely what I'm supposed to be. But what I hate is the misconception on this is my family just assumed that just because I just now mentioned this, that means I'm faking it, all because I didn't say anything. Or the whole idea of just because I'm always happy all the time, I magically don't have depression. It's like, first of all, those are incorrect. People in this community can get easily depressed quite a lot if they feel like they're not getting the love or support they need. And that's what leads to the anxiety and depression and all these stress problems and heart problems and all these conditions. It's not to make you feel like a bad parent. Okay? People in this community just want to be equal like everybody else, and they shouldn't be treated any less of a human, which is another thing on this list, of course. And I feel like that's just unnecessary. Like, people in this community are treated like abominations. First of all, look up what the word abomination is before you assume that a human being themselves, is an abomination. Because I can assure you, everyone is beautiful in their own unique way, and it is unacceptable to sit there and make a trans person or a gay person or a lesbian person or any person in this community feel like that they're less of a human because you don't like what they're doing. Because last time I checked, they're not threatening you. They're not coming up to you with a switchblade knife in their back pocket threatening to slit your throat if you don't call them whatever. It's not like they're doing that, so stop over-dramatizing things and be more of an adult and grow up. Because I can assure you, they're not that bad of people. And mentioning, going to my friend's house when my stepdad started calling me, all this negative crap just because I said I was trans, male, and gay, leads to another concept. I'm kind of tired of people of religion, assuming that people in this community don't know who God is. I do have some friends who are atheists, but for the most part, most of the people I know from this community follow God's word a lot more closely than the people that actually claim to be Christians. And it just drives me insane that they think that people in this community are lost souls and are sinning just because they're being themselves, because that's also unacceptable.